Hello and welcome to ScienceGal Aquatics. I'm Carrie. Today I'm here with my friend Joey, and we went to the Atlanta Aquarium a few weeks ago, and we're excited to show you and react to the footage. So let's get started.
Yeah, these aquariums are some of my favorite things to do, is kind of like rewatch the footage and kind of bring people through it, because it's one thing to be there, but it was too crowded and it was too loud. It was hard to talk on video.
Yes.
So this was a much better idea anyways. So we get to kind of relive it with everybody. So let's do it. I'm excited too. Yeah.
I will have to say my favorite part was the sharks, but we'll show you. Here we go.
So it's it's like a montage of everything you got.
Yes. This was the entrance, and I was in all of the jellyfish. I liked jellyfish. I didn't realize how much I liked them until I see them, and that was cool.
Yeah, this aquarium was laid out like a mini mall or something, where each little area is like it's sectioned off into like quadrants or something.
Had its own little section.
Yeah, a lot of salt water though, which was interesting to see. But I was definitely looking forward to the big monster tank that I think is at the end, and that's with the whale shark and you know, other sharks in there, and it's definitely pretty cool. Oh, is this the eel? Yeah, yes. The eel tank. And the thing is like there's a lot of eels in this tank. Well, if they ever show their face.
Yeah,
I think one like pokes its head out. Yeah.
I like all the salt, like the lionfish. I really like saltwater. I wish I knew more about all the individual fish, but it'll come in time, because every time I go and see them, I fall in love more and more. And every time you look into an aquarium, you saw something new.
Yeah, a lot of people like getting into the coral side of things, but I've always liked the fish side instead. But when it does come to coral, luckily, I like the cheap stuff. Like I like cheap anemones. I like certain, just certain types of soft corals that tend to be, which is nice because I usually like all the expensive stuff. But, some of these tanks are just absolutely enormous. But what I found was the Atlanta Aquarium. Well, of course, was the largest aquarium in the world at one point. Now I believe it's just the largest in North America. I don't think it's based off of size, though. I think that they just have a couple of the biggest individual tanks, which is really cool. But yeah, I guess we'll share our thoughts and overall after the fact. I love anemone tanks. I've done this before.
Yeah, I wish it could like pick up just how massive these tanks are, but it doesn't. But they were huge. You walk in and it really did just kind of took your breath away.
I guess I'll say an unpopular opinion. I was expecting them to be bigger.
Yeah. Well, you got to see more aquariums than I have. This is like my third one, maybe. And so to me, it was amazing.
I've been to a lot. Yeah, we were there with Tia from the Atlantic Area Aquarium Association.
Yes. And this was my favorite part.
Yeah. Yeah, this was my favorite tank too.
Yeah. This was mesmerizing. You could sit there and get lost in this all day long. And I'm sure people have.
Well, it seems as though the fish naturally school like that. And this is a schooling fish that they're all moving at the same pace. They're directional. It's not shoaling. This is true schooling. But I started thinking, I wonder if the sharks are making them do that. And obviously, it is a defense mechanism. They find comfort in numbers and whatnot. It was interesting to see the hammerheads swimming up high, because for the most part, they were like kind of going along the bottom as if they were like, well, there goes a couple there, but as if they're like catfish and they're kind of, you know, looking for food on the bottom. I'm not sure if they're an open water predator or they do eat off the bottom. I'm assuming they eat off the bottom, like crabs and lobsters, stuff like that. Well, I don't know about lobsters, but definitely crabs.
Yeah. They just, I don't know, like seeing them in person, just watching them swim, they're just so like majestic. They just glide.
Yeah, very interesting.
I could have watched this all day.
Do you know how many scales a shark has?
None.
0. That's right. You remember the quiz.
I'm like, don't put me on the spot.
They're covered in denticles, their entire body, and they're quite small, but it's kind of like armor plating almost.
My Shark Week knowledge needs to come into play.
Yeah. So I initially thought these were black tip reef sharks, but they don't get that big. I have no idea what these are. I know clearly that's a hammerhead.
I think they're silver tips, but I could be completely wrong. I think the one that needed braces is a sand tiger, and then there's hammerheads.
The
And
one that
then
needed braces.
I'm not. I probably should know, but I don't. I
Oh,
was.
one of the things that I liked about it, like
Mhm.
you've seen it just in the corner there, was they have little areas for if you're in a wheelchair,
Mhm.
and it's marked off like a handicap sign or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was nice because this
Yeah.
place was like crowded, but this was
It
also a lot of sharks.
it was busy.
Yeah, these. I wasn't expecting this many sharks or that big of a tank. It
Yeah.
kind of made me want to get in, but I
Oh,
don't know.
100%.
I don't know if like these guys are aggressive or not.
I wouldn't care. I would risk it. I would go. I would swim.
Yeah. Yeah,
We'll
this
find
was,
out later.
I personally thought this was the most impressive aquarium, but wasn't the biggest.
Yes.
But definitely, you seem to like it the most.
Yeah,
A lot of footage.
that's it was hard to get a clean shot because I felt bad because I didn't want to get in anybody's way.
No, I
'Cause
remember you're so polite
but-
filming and little Carrie in behind everybody. I'm like, get over
I was
here.
like,
Come
I
here.
really want to watch. Like, I need to record this. This is fantastic. And this right here was it was just my favorite.
Yeah, with the shark going by and stuff. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there's a bunch of moments where I was like, Carrie, look, and I point down and there's a shark going by and you go, whoop.
It's too much. I'm overstimulated by
Yeah.
like fantasticness.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, but this was definitely what I recorded the most. I've tried to get a little bit of everything, but that was my favorite section. That's what I came for, was the sharks.
With the sharks, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, most people enjoy those sharks. I liked them too, but
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping for like more freshwater setups and
Yeah.
more like relatable things. Like maybe
Mhm.
they had a couple like smaller
Yeah.
tanks, but you know, like sort of like this with the penguins. Are those penguins or pencils?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
They're penguins. I think they're penguins. And this was interesting. But I found like there could have been so much more. And then like it was kind of like when I was walking through this that I really enjoyed public aquariums, but I really missed my own.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah, these tanks were enormous. But I think that there was more size than quantity of tanks. There was
Yeah,
a lot of big tanks.
I can agree with that. There I didn't see very many just small. What they had was just massive.
Yeah.
But I wish I knew more individual species, but that will come in time. But it was just so fascinating to watch. Every time you saw the next tank, you're like, okay, that's my favorite. Then you go to the next one, you're like, okay, now this is my new favorite.
I think that I'm so spoiled that I've been to some really cool aquariums that I compare them all to each other as opposed to like just enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say this was my favorite aquarium of all time, but certainly was interesting. I felt like it was more like a family event type thing. But as a hobbyist, I think there's some different tanks and different aquariums that you might like. Like, for example, like everybody was just in Dallas a couple weeks ago. The Dallas World Aquarium, I believe is what it's called, is probably my favorite by far.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out next year.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah, your jaw will be on the floor the entire time. Just insane.
Yeah. We have a few aquariums around here, but they're tiny. There's not, and most of the animals are stuffed. So to see them in action in an actual aquarium for me is a treat.
Yeah. Well, I found like you'll see me in the video here. I was filming as well and talking and kind of doing a video. And then like halfway through, I just kind of like lost interest. I was like, I kind of don't want to do this. I think I'll just like, make sure Carrie's getting the shots. Look how thick that was. That was like 3, 4, 5 inches thick. Acrylic.
Yeah. It was very heavy duty.
Yeah,
it was just really hard to film and try to just not, because like you said, it was just unbelievably crowded, which is a good thing. I'm glad a lot of people are enjoying and taking a trip to see the aquarium, but it was just hard in a filming aspect.
Well, I was moving through it really quickly too.
Yeah.
They say to give yourself 2 to 4 hours, and we went through it in like 45 minutes.
We did.
Yeah.
This is the tank, though. I would go swimming in this tank too. I would play with these whales. I think they're is it
They're
beluga
beluga,
whales? Yeah.
belugas, yeah.
He was seriously playing with this. There is no doubt in my
Oh,
mind.
yeah.
He was playing, and I wanted to play too.
Now you can see under their bellies when they swim by. This is like where mermaids started. You'll see it almost
Yes.
looks like they have legs
Yes.
on specific ones. I don't know the gender between these guys or how to tell. Typically, fish just, mammals let it hang out, but I couldn't see anything on them guys.
Yeah, it's not as easy as sharks for sure. And I like seahorses, but sea dragons, I would have to say I do like a little bit more. And I really enjoyed that tank. That was fun to watch.
Apparently, they're incredibly difficult to keep. I didn't like that species. Well, I like them, but I like the species with far more finnage. And they do have different species of them. And that was probably my least favorite one.
Well, I liked it. And this was the big moment. Like, I had to take a deep breath. I was like, I'm going to see a whale shark, and don't cry. Don't embarrass yourself.
Oh, the tunnel. You go through a big tunnel first? Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying my hardest, but it was packed.
There's no way.
It was packed.
Yeah.
But here in just a second, we walked in and I wasn't really sure what was in this tank, and we walked in and you'll see it in a second. I was
There's
like,
the whale shark right there. And stingrays. They had manta rays.
It was awesome.
I really liked watching the fish school with the rays. I always thought that was like just something you see on Finding Nemo, with the stingray and all the kids go on top of them or whatever. But they do it in this tank. I thought that was really fun. And I think that's one of the big things that I like seeing is the rays.
Just watch it. It's just beautiful. I was like, talk about, Go ahead.
I was kind of hoping the shark would like swim lower.
Yeah.
That's probably the lowest it went.
Yeah, I feel like they do kind of, for the most part, just kind of stay up there and gulp fish probably, but I could be wrong. Yeah, this was awesome. I will have to, the sharks were epic, and this is technically still shark, but this was something to see.
Yeah, this was my favorite thing was the rays and the fish. I will be honest, I thought that this was going to be like an auditorium because when I seen pictures online, it seemed like there was like tons of seating.
Yeah.
But there was like 2 rows and then like a tiny stage.
It was like just a baby auditorium.
It just seemed much smaller than what I thought it was going to be. There's a male.
Yeah, I usually am the type of person that will look up videos to kind of see what to expect, and I really try not to, but I did see it did look like it was more of an open, but it was still amazing. And to see them, just how big, to watch them on Shark Week and Discovery Channel is one thing, but to see them in person and see just how big it really is crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, I guess I would go again if there was less people. So maybe I would have to time it out a little differently. But I found like it was tough to even get up to the glass and see a lot of things. So plus I was tired after the whole weekend, and I knew I was going to have to get on a flight in a couple hours. So I think that my mind was preoccupied, and I wasn't allowing myself to enjoy it as much as I could have. But
we don't have to talk about the airport experience.
But watching it back, I remember this actually was pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
It was fun.
I would say top 5
aquariums
that I've been to. But
it was my number 1. I loved it.
Have you been to others?
Just a few. Like I said, we have a Bass Pro Shop type aquarium here, but it's smaller and we don't have very much. And most of the animals are taxidermied. So to see them in person, we do have one in St. Louis, I think in Union Station, but I haven't made it up there yet to check it out. But I've heard it was a pretty good place to go. But
yeah, I guess, watching this footage back, just seeing it and appreciating it a little differently, the massive water volume, how many fish are in there, the different species of rays and sharks. Oh, and there is a shark in this tank too, like a real shark. It's in the back somewhere. It was more like a carpet shark of some sort, but I can't remember what I actually saw. So apparently these were rescues.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they were confiscated. With people trying to ship them in. They're talking about they didn't know what species they were, and I was looking at them and I was like, well, that's a Motoro over there, that's a Leopoldi, these are crosses, like hybrids, and none of these are illegal. But yeah, these might even be like flower crosses.
If there is ever a person to know, I have a feeling you would know.
Well, they say it's a touch tank, but those rays weren't coming near you. And freshwater rays don't really do that for the most part, not that often. What I did know is they clipped their stingers, their barbs, which I'm not a huge fan of that, just to be able to pet them, which they typically don't want anyway. So
yeah,
it is what it is, though. Stingrays are often used for touch tanks. I prefer saltwater touch tanks. Here's your shrimp. This was your world here. You love all these little fellas.
I went a little crazy for shrimp. I love them. I had no idea how much I would love them until I got them, and now I'm in love with them for sure.
Yeah, so you see this kind of setup where it's like almost like tank sizes that you could have at home type of deal. That's what I love. Like the discus tank was pretty cool.
Yes.
Lots of pigeon bloods. And
they're eye-catching no matter what.
Yeah.
Discus.
Under the right lighting, they almost glow with that iridescence. And these guys looked real good. Very little peppering. Nice body shapes. I think that these could have been somebody donated them to the aquarium because these are man-made versions. These are not seen in the wild. So these are trade fish as opposed to something you'd see in the wild. I wasn't expecting that. Like sometimes when you go to a public aquarium, you kind of expect it to be wild representations.
I thought this was cool. Inside peek of.
Apparently, you can book to get in there.
Well, I will do that on my next trip. This is the end. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, this was like kind of reminded me of Aquashell, and I was like, I wonder if they got an inspiration from this, like the glow in the
maybe
the flashing lights.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with black light and like glowy stuff. It's going to get my attention every time.
This type of area was kind of confusing. I didn't know what we were in, but maybe it was like trying to simulate a submarine or something. I don't know.
I think so. It felt like it at least.
Yeah. Oh, and then we had to stand outside in the blistering heat waiting for the elevators. Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh. I would have assumed there would have been more than one set of elevators for the probably over 1,000 of people in the line trying to get to the parking lot. But yes, it was a little uncomfortable.
But it was all families too. It wasn't necessarily like I guess like well, Tamara's like, did anybody recognize you there? And I was like, not at a place like that. Plus, I don't. This is what gets recognized. This logo. Yeah. That's the first thing people would remember. But I found like it was very family orientated, rather expensive, I guess. I don't know. I think it was like
$47 or $49 a piece, if I remember right.
Yeah, so about $49.50, something like that. $50 American, but that's like $70 Canadian to me.
Oh, and yeah.
Like, that kind of sucks. That hits a little hard, but I'm glad I got to experience it. I think that if people are in the area and they got some extra time and a few extra bucks, they should certainly stop in. But if you are specifically flying to a place to see something, my suggestion would be Dallas World Aquarium, Ripley's Aquarium in Toronto, maybe even the Florida Aquarium. You'll just simply get to see. Oh, and there's like a little aquarium in Detroit as well. That's really cool. I think that you'll just get to see other animals and stuff and fish that you might see in the home aquarium displayed on a wild type scale. I definitely think Dallas World Aquarium. Next time you're there, Carrie, you have got to go.
Yes, I'm going to make time. Yeah, I want to make time now. You'll
be walking through forests on bridges, and there's little tiki bars, and you look over the bridge, and there's massive, massive crocodiles and alligators and stingray ponds, and it was just incredible. Oh, and then there'd be some mammals like anteaters and stuff, and but yeah, that was probably my favorite. And I want to say it's because of the animals and the fish tanks and how beautiful it was, but I got to admit, like the tiki bars. Made it a lot funner.
Yeah.
Walking around looking at all the fish. Felt like I was at home.
Yeah. And the environment does add to, or the aesthetic does add to it. I don't know. When there's something cool to look at in every single place to look at, it's just fun. I guess.
So what are your overall thoughts of the Atlanta Aquarium? Would you go back?
I think you should go at least once. I think it was a great time, especially the sharks.
Yeah, the
I
sharks.
don't know if I would go again. If I had an opportunity to go to another place, I might take it up. But if I don't have an opportunity to go somewhere else and I'm in Atlanta, I probably would go back and go a little slower.
Yeah, maybe at a better time, and maybe not with me, the power walker. We have to go.
Let's go. It trained me for my next weekend in Aquashella. I got my power walk on.
All right, Gary. Hey, thanks for letting me check out this footage with you.
Well, thank
I
you.
always like doing videos like this and getting to rewatch and kind of relive things and seeing it again from another perspective.
Yes.
I kind of guess I'm starting to feel guilty for not appreciating it as much as I could have, especially now that we saw the Shark Tank again, and, because that was just mind blowing. But
Yes.
but yeah, again, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for inviting me, and thanks for the chit chat.
Of course.
Until next time. Bye.